Hi, everyone. Welcome back. It's Nikki, parenting and relationship life coach. Today, I want to talk to you guys about something that's very important. It's something we all have and do, which is conversations. However, most of us are lacking the essential tools needed in order to have a good, healthy, back and forth conversation. Talking can be one of the most dangerous things that we do. We can say something to upset someone. We can say things that offends the other person without even realizing it. And we can start an argument, which we were not planning on having. Today's youth are missing some of the most essential tools and basics needed in order to have a conversation. Children and youth and adolescents today are spending about 100 texts per day talking to their friends over picking up the phone and talking to them. They're spending the most amount of time on screen time versus in the past where we would talk to our friends, have face-to-face time with them. But today, the youth and even young adults are preferring to text over picking up the phone to talk. Having a good conversation, a healthy conversation, requires a balance between talking and listening. And so many of us are lacking the second portion, which is listening. Today, I'm going to teach you about 8 or 9 things that are going to help you to have a better conversation, where you feel engaged and inspired after that conversation. So let's get started. The first thing that we need to know is when you're speaking with someone, when you're having a dialogue, a conversation, is not to be a know-it-all. Now, a lot of us might be know-it-alls. We might feel like we know a lot more than the person that we're speaking to. But in order to have a healthy and beneficial conversation, we need to sit back and listen to what the other person has to say and not assume that we already know everything. The second important note is not to multitask. When you're speaking to someone, and I know in today's world where it might be driving, talking on the phone, cooking, finishing up a Zoom meeting while we're texting with someone. So it's very important not to multitask and to actually give your full attention to the person that you're talking with. You're either in or you're out. You cannot be halfway in when you're having a conversation because it can definitely be felt by the second person that your full attention is not with them. Another thing is to ask open-ended questions. Don't ask questions where the person might just need to answer a yes or no, because that way the conversation ends very quickly and abruptly. Ask very open-ended questions which start with who, what, where, when. You can say, how did that make you feel? What did it feel like for you to experience that? Tell me a little bit more about it. And you allow the other person to describe and explain their feelings and their idea or their perception of whatever you're asking about. Another point that's very important is don't make it about you. Don't assume that if the person is saying, I hate my job, that you automatically assume that you know what they're feeling because you also hate your job. And also don't just jump in with, oh yeah, I also hate my job. It's not time for you to suddenly remember things and start sharing it. When they're opening up about if they lost a loved one, if they're having marital issues, if, for example, they're going through a divorce, don't jump in immediately with your stories of how you also hate your job, you're having marital issues, and possibly going through a divorce yourself. Give them room to explain and express their feelings without automatically telling them how they must feel or interjecting with your own beliefs and stories that you might have to tell them. Another important point is to go with the flow. If you're talking about something and the person suddenly seems to change the topic or recall something from the story that you're telling them, and they start to talk about something else, for you to be a good conversationalist and not to get upset, not to reel them back in and say, well, wait, we're talking about this topic. It's important to be easygoing and go with the flow. Go with, something else that they might be interested in and want to share with you because they might not be very into the topic that you were originally bringing up. Another good point is don't repeat yourself. I know a lot of times in business, if we're working with our employees or dealing with younger children and we're trying to make a point, we want to make sure that our point is made and we repeat ourselves. One, it can be very boring, and two, it's very degrading. So we definitely don't want to act as if the person we're talking to just simply doesn't understand us. Another very important point is leave out all the small details, the names of the people, the exact location, the date that you're trying to recall and having a hard time to recall. Chances are the person you're speaking with isn't even that interested in all those details. They want to know you. They want to hear your thoughts and feelings. So be engaged and forget all the small details. And the last and I think most important point is to listen. Really listen. You know, so many of us, when we're quiet and the other person is talking, we're just quiet so that they can shut up. Excuse me, a lot of us feel that way. Or they can stop talking so that we can respond, so that we can say our points, which are much more important, so that we can say the points that were in our mind and we were thinking about it the entire time that the person was talking and, get our point across. We need to listen for the sheer fact of trying to understand, not listening so that we can just respond. And that is one of the most important things. If you take away from this is when you're having a good and beneficial conversation, when you get up and you feel really engaged and connected to the person, is if you practice listening skills. And another thing that you can remember is that everyone has something to teach us. Be prepared to be amazed. When you never learn anything if your mouth is moving. Anytime your mouth is open and moving, there's no chance for you to learn. But if you sit back and you practice these 7 or 8 points that I mentioned, and you really truly practice listening, you will see that anyone can amaze you and teach you new things. Until next time, I really hope you enjoyed this segment today. If you did enjoy it, please like it, share it with your friends so that maybe they can learn a few points on how to have a good conversation. And this is Nikki with Togetherness TV. Stay safe until I see you again.
Togetherness Media. Togethernessmedia.com